order of operations is one of those fundamental skills that you'll need in all of algebra. It's one of your basic grammar skills in terms of math. And I'll use this one as the example that I'm going to work on. It's essentially the same as the one above it, but it has minus signs, so it's a little more challenging. And I think this is where most people make their mistakes, if they're going to make a mistake. So the thing to keep in mind is there's a certain order that we have to do this in terms of executing the mathematical functions. Otherwise, we get it wrong. For example, if you take this minus 3, you know that has to be multiplied by the things to the right of it. But do we do that before the exponent or after? That's the trick. And if you do it before the exponent, the squared, you're going to get this wrong, most likely. Now, the order you follow is given right here, this PEMDAS. Most people learn it as PEMDAS. They just remember that word. You may have heard, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. My favorite one is push Elvis's mother down a sewer. In the end, you just have to remember parentheses for first, then exponents, then multiply, then do your addition, and so on. So the first thing I'm going to do is look inside the parentheses. Is there anything in here, inside, that I can combine together? Now, if that were 6 minus 5, yes, you'd go ahead and do that. But I can't work with a variable minus 5. There's no like terms there. So I move on and do my exponents next. The next stage, so exponents, what does that mean? Well, I keep my minus 3 outside. And when I do the exponents, that means I carry out this squared function. And this becomes delta squared minus 10x plus 25. I go over foiling in other videos, but what I just did right there was I said, okay, this is delta minus 5 times delta minus 5. And I did the foiling and distributed multiplication, and I got this, delta squared minus 10x plus 25. Okay, I didn't change anything on the left side. This is still negative times a big parentheses. And now, with the exponents taken care of, I can move on to the multiplication step. Okay, so there's my exponents are done. We're moving on to multiplication. And if you look over here, what do I have here? This is a negative 1 on the outside of that left parentheses. So everything on the inside of the parentheses is multiplied by that negative sign, or by a negative 1. This becomes 2 delta squared minus 3 delta minus 5. Okay? And then this next parentheses becomes minus 3 delta squared plus 30x and minus 75. And see, that's a very different result than if I had done negative 3 times delta minus 5 and then tried squaring that result. I would have gotten things like 9 delta squared and, I don't know, 200 something at the very end instead of 75. Okay, so now we've done the multiplication step. And all the parentheses are gone. So at this point, the last step is to simply carry through the multiplication. To carry through the combining of like terms. In other words, the addition. And I'm going to look for things that are similar, like delta squared. I have 2 delta squared over here, negative 3 delta squared over there. I add them together and get negative delta squared. And then I have minus 3 delta and plus 30. Oh, look at that. I changed it to an x. That's fine. Minus 3 plus 30 is plus 27 delta. And then minus 5 and minus 75, that's going to be minus 80. Okay, so this would be your final answer after combining like terms.